Everybody, my name is Dina Baker and I am the Nature Center Director from Evergreen Audubon. This video is about native seeds and how to prep them for springtime, how to prep them for planting. So the reason why I wanted to do this video now is because some native seeds, a lot of them actually, need to go through a stratification process, and so this is a really good time to get that started. And for those of you that have perused our website, you may have seen that we're doing a Native Plants Week, and that is April 19th through the 25th. So I kind of want to kick things off now in celebration of that and in preparation for that. Even if we are still having to practice social distancing, which, who am I kidding, we probably will, we are still going to be celebrating that by encouraging people to plant native plants, whether it's from seed like we're going to show you here, or buying plants. So the seeds that I'm going to show you, I'll tell you the company that I've gotten them from, and they have really good reviews. And then you can also purchase native plants, like the full plant, from Harlequin's Garden as well. So one thing that I really like to encourage people to do, not just to promote us, but if you have ever been on any of our plant walks or would like to go in the future, it's a really good way to start making observations about plants. Or going to any of the open spaces, but really start paying attention to how and where they grow. I'm very lucky where I live here in Conifer that I have some really dry, sandy areas with a little bit of sloping, because I know things like Indian paintbrush, they really like sandy, a lot of light, and they often grow on sloping terrain, so you'll see that a lot when you go on hikes. Also, my favorite mustard, which is the Erysimum capitatum, western wallflower, they really like sunny areas too. I see them a lot on those kinds of sandy sloping areas, as well as the Ipomopsis aggregata, which is fairy trumpet or scarlet gilia. They have a million different names, which is why I do like scientific names, because it gives you kind of a commonality there. And then I'm lucky on my property that I have a little creek that goes through, and it's more like a trickle, but it provides a lot of wetness, so that if I do want to plant plants that require a lot of moisture all the time, I can do that. And I have areas that are full shade, partial shade, and some areas that have full sun. But unfortunately for me, I'm in a lodgepole forest. I guess that's not unfortunate, but it limits what I can do in terms of planting. Alrighty, so we are back, and I'm going to show you some of the seeds that I have gotten. And yes, this was very much like Christmas for me when I got this package of native seeds. Everything that's in the box here are native seeds that do not require any kind of stratification or preparation, shall we say. So these guys can go straight into the ground or on the ground, however they need to. So, if we get started here, I'm just going to point out some of the native seeds that I got, because it's kind of fun to see some pictures. So we've got our pasque flower right there, and those like to bloom in early spring. So as soon as maybe we don't have snow on the ground, whoever knows when that will be. I can't give a specific time period for that because we never know, but these guys like to bloom a little bit early, and so you'll see our Western Native Seed Companies where I've gotten most of these seeds. So you've got the address and the website on there, but it will show you the quantity you've gotten. You'll see the scientific name, Pulsatilla patens, and its common name, pasque flower. So that's really helpful to me because I don't know every single scientific name. So it's kind of a learning tool. And then if you look, here we've got our side oats grama here. You'll see on the bottom here, no pre-treatment, plant outside, spring to midsummer. So the side oats grama is a type of grass. You can probably tell by the way the seeds look. Those can just be kind of thrown around. They don't have as high of a need as some of our other plants do. So other ones that made me really excited to get were this Eriogonum umbulatum sulfur flower. And you can see the little seed head, our nice sulfury color too. Our blue flax as well. I'm sure everyone's familiar with what those look like, little blue flowers. as well as our yucca, which they're calling Spanish bayonet. I usually just call it yucca glauca. And then we've got the pussy toes, Antennaria parvifolia, which are those little mat forming ones. And you'll see on some of these, I put my own little notes anywhere. So that's just for my own brain to remember where to put them. So clearly that one I don't have a real plan for, just anywhere extra that I haven't planted something already. But I have put onto some of these where I plan to plant them because of the needs that they have. Maybe they need more sun, maybe they need more water. Different parts of my property are going to have different things like that. So you can see these two are more store-bought from a generic place. The rest of these are hanging out in my fridge right now, and will continue to do so because these ones do need a cool stratification. So what that means is they need to be able to go through sort of a simulation of winter, that kind of freeze, thaw, and some of them even need that moisture added to it, which would simulate the snow melt as well. So that's why a lot of these I have in my fridge to sort of simulate that. And so here's a couple. These are a little bit more obvious. This is the Indian paintbrush here. The sulfur paintbrush is going to look very similar, just a yellowy color. Riboserium and Orium here, I'm really excited about. I don't know if this one will grow up by me because I might be a little too high, but I'm going to be hopeful. And those are our currants, so wax and golden currants. So those are edible, which the more edible, the better for me. I get excited about that. I think my most favorite native plant of all, Pedicularis groenlandica, the elephant head. This is what they look like here. They're very pretty. Mariposa lilies, I'm sure everyone has seen these while hiking, so I got those native seeds as well. Here's my western wallflower again. That's what they look like when they're growing, and I'm pretty obsessed with them. As well as we've got our sugar bowls here and our fireweed here. A lot of you might have these growing on your property already, and if you do, awesome, you're ahead of the game. Some of these I do, and most of them I don't, which is why I ordered the seeds. We also have our milkweed here, which I always encourage everybody, no matter where you are, to plant that for our monarchs. And then our Ipomopsis abrugata, which you can see is in a sandy area right there in the photo. And then our dusky beard tongue penstemon, and that requires a wetter and higher area, which is where I am. So that's why I have those. So you don't need a whole lot for this prep, and again, you want to read those little cards to see what do they need. This one says 45-day cool moist stratification. So cool, if it doesn't say moist, you can just put it right in the fridge. Moist, you want to add a teeny bit amount of moisture. You don't want to put too much because you could cause premature germination, and then there's really not much you can do to salvage that. Or you could start growing mold and things like that. So if you want to be on the safer side in terms of not causing that early germination or fungus, then maybe don't add the moisture. But if you do want to, you really just need a little bit, and I will show you how much. So I've kind of already gotten started on the western wallflower, and I added it with the sulfur paintbrush. Just like the Indian paintbrush here, these guys are semi-parasitic, so it does help to know a little bit about this plant because it doesn't say that on either of these descriptions. So semi-parasitic means, to put it in a nice way, they need a buddy to grow. So they usually don't cause harm to the other plant, but they are considered semi-parasitic. So they do need a buddy to grow. I haven't noticed or heard or read that it's specific to any other native plant. So I'm putting it with my western wallflower for now, and they need the same requirements in terms of stratification and where they're going to go on my property with the sun and the sandy soil and the sloping. So they hang out together normally in the wild here and there. So I think that would be a good bet for those guys. So now what I will do is grab, so you can use a little Tupperware container like this. But actually what is better is a Ziploc baggie, even though I know they're not sustainable. I know you can reuse these, so let's plan on reusing these for future plant needs. So what I will do is get a 1/4 cup of sand, dump it in there. And then just a 1/4 teaspoon is really all you need. So make sure that your sand is dry so that you are not adding too much moisture. If you think your sand is moist at all, maybe don't add the extra moisture. Or if you want to be really safe, you can put it in like an oven safe container and dry it out completely that way. That works too. Sand is silica, so it's basically just glass. You're not going to get your oven high enough to really mess with it at all, but you can dry it out that way. So I'm just mixing it up with my fingers right now. And then, who's going to be the lucky winner? I think I'm going to grab my Iphomopsis aggregata and double check. Ooh, 45 to 90 day cool moist stratification. Plant 1/8 of an inch deep. And then my little note here says on the side, so that's going on the side of the house too with the Indian paintbrush and the Western wallflower because they all have those same leaves. So I'm just going to dump that in here. And seeing as a lot of these came in Ziploc bags, you can just use those if everything fits okay. That is definitely the way to go. So I'll be keeping this one for maybe some of those little baggies that are too small to add the sand to. So then you kind of just mix them up. And they are going to be ready to go in the spring. So all of these, when I'm done with them, are going straight into the fridge. And they do vary between about a month to 6 weeks of needing to be in there. I'm just going to keep them all at 6 weeks because it's really not going to hurt them. In fact, a lot of these can go a year or more in the fridge without having any issues. Something I didn't mention, and it's important to know because sometimes this can be anticlimactic, it's that some seeds, even if you've gone through this, can stay dormant from 1 to 3 years. This is going to be your best bet at getting them to germinate, to simulate what nature's going to do in terms of winter freeze thaw. But if it doesn't happen this year or next year, don't despair. I'd say wait 3 years before you really get super sad about it. And if you do get impatient like I do, again, you can head up to Harlequin's Gardens in Boulder to get the actual plants as well. And just a reminder of where to get these seeds. It's Western Native Seed, and their website is westernNativeSeed.com. So thank you for hanging out and learning about how to plant these natives. And I know we're a little far out, but it is never too early to wish you a happy Native Plants Week, which is April 19th through the 25th. And then, of course, that is Earth Day week as well. So a future happy Earth Day, I'm sure. I'll be seeing you on video before then. And happy social distancing. Bye, guys.